For more than 10 years, one man had terrified Rome, Hannibal. He had crossed the Alps, destroyed army after army, and never lost a battle. And yet, for all of it, he could not win the war. Something was missing. Hannibal had the genius. What he did not have was the numbers. He could beat any Roman army in the open field, but he never had enough men to take the city of Rome itself. To finish the war, he needed help. And that help could come from only one person, his younger brother Hasdrubal, far away in Spain. Everything, the whole war, now rested on one thing Hannibal could not do himself: his brother reaching him with a second army. This is the story of that brother, the reinforcement Rome feared more than anything else, and how a small delay, a flooded river, and a message that fell into the wrong hands decided the fate of the ancient world. To understand what was at stake, go back. Years earlier, Hannibal had done the impossible. He marched an army, with war elephants, over the frozen Alps and brought the war onto Roman soil. He crushed the Romans again and again. At Cannae, in a single day, he destroyed the largest army Rome had ever raised. It was the worst defeat in all of Roman history. But Rome did not surrender. It learned. It stopped fighting him head-on. A general named Fabius simply shadowed him, refusing open battle, wearing him down month after month. So Hannibal was caught in a strange kind of war, unbeaten but stuck, roaming Italy for years, winning fights that no longer mattered because he could never land the final blow. And slowly, he was running out of both time and men. His only hope was reinforcement. A fresh army marching to join his own, so that together, the brothers could finally take Rome. And that army was being held together, against all odds, by Hasdrubal. So who was this brother? His name was Hasdrubal Barca. He was born in Carthage, the great city of North Africa, into the most famous military family of the age, the Barcas, sons of the general Hamilcar. Hannibal was the eldest. Hasdrubal was the younger. And he was no mere soldier taking orders. He was a general in his own right, trusted with an entire war of his own. While Hannibal fought in Italy, Hasdrubal was left with the harder, quieter job, commanding the whole Carthaginian army in Spain, whose silver mines paid for the entire war. But Spain was slipping away, because Rome had sent a young, brilliant commander to take it from him, a man named Scipio. Scipio pressed hard, winning city after city. At a place called Baecula, he came for Hasdrubal directly. And here, Hasdrubal made a cold, clever choice. Rather than risk everything in one battle, he slipped away from Scipio, saved his army, and turned north. He was finished holding Spain. He was going to do the one thing that truly mattered: march to Italy and reach his brother. Through the winter, he moved across Gaul, gathering strength. And in the spring of 207 BC, Hasdrubal did what everyone believed only Hannibal could do. He crossed the Alps. For him, it was easier. The rough roads his brother's army had cut 10 years before were still there. And the mountain tribes who had once fought Hannibal now let the Carthaginians pass without a fight. Like his brother, he brought war elephants over the mountains. And as he came down into northern Italy, thousands of Gauls and Ligurians, old enemies of Rome, rushed to join him. His army swelled to around 30,000 men, 5,000 horsemen, 15 elephants. A second Carthaginian army now stood on Italian soil. The nightmare Rome had dreaded for a decade had finally come true. In Rome, there was something close to panic. Not one, but two sons of Hannibal's father were now in Italy. If the brothers joined their armies, the Romans were certain the Republic was finished. And they were right to be afraid, because everything now came down to one simple thing: the two brothers had to meet. But the brothers were hundreds of miles apart, and they could not simply find each other. To meet, they first had to agree on a place. So Hasdrubal sent riders south, carrying letters to Hannibal naming where the two armies would unite. This was the most fragile moment in the whole plan. Everything depended on those letters getting through, on two men, far apart, coordinating across enemy land. It was the one part of the plan that neither brother could truly control. And then Hasdrubal made his mistake. On the way, he stopped to attack a Roman town called Placentia. It cost him time, precious weeks, for a prize he did not even need. That delay would end up killing him. Because while he sat outside those walls, his messengers rode straight into Roman hands. The letters were captured, and now the Romans knew exactly what Hasdrubal wanted and exactly where he was going. Now, to understand what happened next, you need to know two Romans. Rome elected two top commanders each year, called consuls, and in this year both were sent to stop the brothers. Marcus Livius commanded the Roman army in the north, watching Hasdrubal, and Gaius Claudius Nero commanded the army in the south, watching Hannibal. Both were Romans, the brothers' enemies. Those captured letters handed them a chance no one had thought possible. And it was Nero, the southern consul, who made one of the boldest decisions in the history of war. Quietly, in the dark, he took his best men and slipped away from Hannibal's front and marched them north as fast as they could go to join Livius against Hasdrubal. He did it so quietly that neither brother knew. Hannibal still believed Nero was camped right in front of him, and Hasdrubal had no idea that a second Roman army was now racing toward him. Hasdrubal drew up his men expecting to face a single army, but as he studied the Roman camp, he noticed something wrong: worn horses, too many soldiers, the marks of men who had traveled hard, and he guessed the terrible truth. A second consul had come. Outnumbered now, and knowing it, he made the right call. He would not fight on their terms. That night, he quietly pulled his army back, aiming to cross the Metaurus river and slip away to safety. But then his luck ran out. In the darkness, his local guides abandoned him and vanished. Leaderless, his army wandered lost along the bank, searching for a place to cross a river now swollen with spring floods. When morning came, there was no escape. His men were exhausted and sleepless, trapped against the river. The Romans had caught up. Hasdrubal had no choices left. He would have to fight. He placed his best troops, the hardened Spanish veterans, on his strong right. His weakest, the Gauls, he set on the left, behind a hill. His elephants he put in front. And then the two armies crashed together. For a long time, it was even. Hasdrubal's veterans held. But then the consul Nero did something no one expected. He pulled men from his own flank, marched them behind the fighting, and smashed into the Carthaginian side from the rear. The Carthaginian line broke. What had been a battle became a collapse, and Hasdrubal, watching his army and his brother's last hope fall apart around him, refused to run. He spurred his horse straight into the thickest part of the Roman ranks and died fighting. Around 10,000 of his men fell with him. The second army, the reinforcement Hannibal had waited 10 years for, was gone. And now comes the cruelest part of the story. Far to the south, Hannibal still did not know. He was still waiting, still believing his brother was on the way. In his mind, everything still depended on Hasdrubal reaching him. Then, one day, Roman riders came to the edge of Hannibal's camp and threw something over the wall. It was his brother's severed head. That was how Hannibal learned that Hasdrubal was dead and that the war was lost. He is said to have looked down and quietly spoken the fate of Carthage aloud. In that instant, he understood. There would be no reinforcement, no united army, no march on Rome. It was over. And it was. Carthage refused to send Hannibal any more help. Years later, Rome went on the attack, and that same young commander, Scipio, invaded Africa, forcing Hannibal home at last. At Zama, Scipio finally defeated him. The greatest general of the ancient world was beaten, but look closely at how. Hannibal never lost his nerve. He never lost a single battle he himself commanded. He did almost everything right. And still he lost. Because the one thing his whole plan depended on his brother reaching him was the one thing he could not do with his own hands. It rested on messengers, on rivers, on a brother hundreds of miles away. And it failed. That is the hard truth this story leaves behind. You can be brilliant, you can do everything right, and you can still lose if the one part of your plan that depends on someone else breaks. So here is the question worth carrying with you. Look at whatever you are building and ask yourself honestly how much of it depends on someone other than you. Because that part, the part you cannot control, is exactly where it can break. Hannibal learned that too late. You do not have to, and that is proven by history.